This is the 9th generation iPad, and I am absolutely in love with it. So I spent the last 2 weeks with it, so let me go ahead and give you guys a full insight into what my last 2 weeks with this were like. And for reference, I'm coming down from the iPad Pro. The M1 iPad Pro is what I've been using for the last, I want to say 6 months, give or take, since it came out. So I think it was end of May. So end of May till now, the iPad Pro is what I've been using. So this is the entry-level model. That is pretty much the flagship model in the iPad lineup, and there's a lot in the middle. So what about this? Why do I like it? You know, it's a big downgrade for me, but why am I still fawning over it? And I think there's a lot to talk about. So let me go ahead and kind of give you guys a rundown from kind of the positives, the meh, and then the negative, and kind of give you a summary of what I feel about this iPad and whether you should invest your hard-earned money into this product or not. So let's start off with the good stuff. So right off the bat, this device has incredible build quality. Like, you can't say this is a $300 device. Like, it is complete. It's aluminum glass. It just feels absolutely solid in the hand. There's no flex. There's no creaking, bending. It is absolutely just, this design has been around so long. Apple has perfected it to the point where you don't think about it. But when you buy a $300 Android tablet, just look at the quality it is and compare it to this, and it's night and day. This just feels like an extremely premium product. So build quality is out of this world, honestly. I just can't believe that a $300 tablet has a build quality like this. And right hand in hand is software experience. The software experience, iPad OS 15 is amazing, but still a little bit limited, but that's a little bit more of a pro issue, not for this, because for this, it's awesome. You can do multitasking, you can do split window, you can have extra windows, there's shortcut tabs, there's a lot going on with iPad OS 15. That's honestly a whole video in and of itself, but this was absolutely a great addition. The software and hardware just works so well together. It's crazy, especially because of the fact that you can get the same software experience on this as the 3 times more expensive iPad Pros. There's not a single software feature in this that is missing on the iPad Pro, or no, it's the other way around. There's not a single software feature in the iPad Pro that is missing in this. It is amazing. It's not stunted in any way. It really is a full-blown iPad experience. And that also builds into the fact that this has also got an amazing camera upgrade this year. So the iPad cameras have always been kind of weak, but the last year, Apple has really focused on it. I think, just how much we're working from home and how many people are using their devices for video calls and stuff, it's pretty clear that good cameras make a difference, especially on the front. And the front camera got a big upgrade. Not only did it get a big upgrade, it also got a big software feature that we thought might be iPad only, but it did come down. Is that center stage. I absolutely love center stage, and video calls just look stunning with it. I've gotten so many compliments, and they just look great too. So for a $330 device, even if you just want this to video call, it's amazing, because I've seen webcams get into super expensive price ranges. So just having this, no-brainer. I absolutely love the camera experience on this, and it's been a fantastic addition. And I think that they really made a good call with investing the money into the cameras instead of other areas of the iPad that could have possibly been improved. And just all around, this is a fantastic device for entertainment, productivity, calls, everything. It just really is a great device. I used it for video calls. I used it for watching YouTube videos. I used it for browsing the internet, and nothing I did felt like it was a compromise. Everything was absolutely great. The experience worked really well. So if you want something to do like casual browsing on the internet, if you want something just to do some casual gaming or video calls, this really is all you need, and it works super well. Also, something that I was absolutely just blown away by was the battery life. The battery life on this was mind-blowing, because I've used it for 2 weeks, and I've only charged it twice in the 2 weeks, and I've used it every single day. This has replaced my iPad Pro completely. I haven't touched my iPad Pro in 2 weeks. It's just sitting somewhere. I don't even know where it is exactly right now, because I haven't touched it in 2 weeks. This has been my main iPad, and it's been fantastic. I've used it, I want to say, a minimum of 2 hours every day. This includes YouTube videos, FaceTime calls, browsing, every day. And it still got me like a complete week of charge on just one charge, and it was amazing. I was almost like, after like 3 days of using it, I'm like, what's the battery at? It must be low, and it was like 70% or 65%, something like that. I didn't remember to note down, but it was just amazing. The battery life on this is great. That is if you're not using a keyboard case. That's something that does kind of zap away the battery. So if you're using the smart connectors or charging up your Apple Pencil, it does zap away battery life. But if you're just using the iPad without a smart keyboard, the battery life is just mind-blowing. And just a small thing, I can't believe I have to mention this, but it's just the way it is now. The iPad does come with a charger in the box, so you don't have to spend any more money. $330 gets you the charger, the cable, the iPad itself. There's not much more you want to spend money on other than a case if that's something you want. And the smart connector, as I was saying, just the smart connector being here is a fantastic addition because it does give you the flexibility of using like keyboards or other accessories. I think that the main ones are keyboards. I haven't really seen any other smart accessories, but it's so nice to just, magnetically attach a keyboard and be able to use this for like real work. Like I was able to, reply to so many emails and actually do productive work on this thanks to these smart connectors. So there is a lot of versatility going on with this iPad. So let me move on and talk about some of the mess. Something that they're not great, but they're not bad. They're not a cause for concern, but I did think were worthwhile mentioning. So number one is this iPad has the A13 Bionic chip. We're currently on the A15 Bionic. So this year, the iPhone 13s and the newest iPads have the A15 Bionic, whereas this has the A13 Bionic, which came out 2 years ago. Now, this isn't a bad processor. It's a pretty good processor, but my annoyance with it is that why go for a 2-year-old model when you could have gone for the A14? Just because the iPads tend to have a great life. Most iPads, I want to say at least I've seen people hold on to them for 4 or 5 years. Just my parents have held on to their iPad for about 5 years now, and they last. So why not give it the best chip so that down the road, 3 years down the road, it doesn't have a problem? The performance right now is absolutely fine. I have not noticed any issues, but just as time goes on, it will start to show its age more than the iPads with newer CPUs, and that's just the way things go. So it doesn't impact things right now, but it will long-term wise. That's the one thing that's annoying. The screen. So the screen is a non-laminated display, and I think a lot of people were kind of like, oh, I don't want to get a non-laminated display. At least the tech world is very particular about this, but having used this, I haven't seen anything on this display that makes me not recommend it. Sure, it's a downgrade from having a laminated display with a high refresh rate, all that, but I'll be honest with you, about a week after using it, I wasn't noticing much of a difference. I really didn't care too much because the screen got bright enough, the colors were nice, and overall the screen it did exactly what I do, and it was sharp as well. So this is slightly higher than 1080p, so it didn't feel like I was, most content looked crisp, clear, including text and video. So the display is not bad in any way. For this price point, I have not much to complain about, and I do not mind that they didn't put money into the display this year because they did put it into the cameras, and I would much rather have that compromise over it being the other way around. So now with the mess and the goods covered, let's look at some of the negatives. So every device has negatives. If anybody says that a device is perfect, they're lying to you. There are things that are always bad, and this one was a hard one to come up with negatives for this because this is such a good device. But one thing that I noticed straight off the bat, and I mentioned this in the unboxing video as well, was that the iPad does have Touch ID, but it has first generation Touch ID sensor, which isn't that great. It's very slow, and you can tell it's a very clear cost-cutting move. They have tons of second-gen IDs, Touch IDs devices with them as well, so I don't think it would have made a big difference cost-wise. I think that the reality is just kind of a little bit more differentiation there. Maybe saving a couple cents per device, but really I don't like that. They shouldn't be shipping a device with Touch ID first gen and a device in 2021. Like that came out in 2013 with the iPhone 5S. The first gen Touch ID needs to just die. It should not be used in any device in 2021. Another thing I'm not a fan of is the lack of USB-C. So this is still rocking that Lightning port, and this is the last Apple iPad to be rocking a Lightning port. The entire lineup has now moved to USB-C, and this is the last holdout. So while it's not a big deal for most people because you do get the cable in the box anyways, and people do have Lightnings, the problem is, given how capable these iPads are now, not having a USB-C means you can't connect up external hard drives, or you can't connect up, cameras, things like that directly to it. You need dongles, it doesn't work too that well. So this charger port is mostly for charging, not a lot of data transfer can go through it. So I do really wish they would have just switched to USB-C and had a unified lineup throughout the iPad, but they don't, so there's not much I can complain about, honestly. Like it's just the reality of it. Moving on, let's talk about something that absolutely frustrates me, and it isn't special to this iPad, it also affects the iPad mini and the iPad Air, and that is the fact that they have a 64 GB base storage option, which I'm not completely frustrated by. What I'm frustrated by is the fact that if you want more storage, you only have one option, and that's the 256 gig option, which is insane. I don't need 256 gig, but 64 isn't enough in my opinion. 128 is the sweet spot, and they do not offer 128. It's beyond frustrating. And the real reason why it's frustrating is it's not just because they don't offer 128. The problem is the price delta between the 64 and 256 is $150. That's 45% of this device's cost. So if you want more storage, you have to pay 45% more, which is just like, why would you do that? It makes no logical sense. So instead of this being a $330 iPad, it becomes a $470 iPad. And with tax and everything, you're looking at a $500 iPad. It's frustrating. It really is that they don't give you a 128 GB option, because that is the sweet spot. Thank goodness it's not 32 GB anymore. This used to be 32 GB, which would even worse. But I'm still not happy. There should be a mid-tier storage option like they have with iPhones. The fact that they don't is frustrating. They should have a mid-tier lineup here. And finally, a small little nitpick being that the speakers are definitely a downgrade. That is the one thing that I did not get over. So a lot of things I kind of forgot using this. You know, I didn't really miss my iPad Pro, except the speakers. The speakers on this just don't live up to it. And I'm a little bit spoiled here because the iPad Pro speakers are amazing. They're the best on a tablet. But coming down to this, it wasn't the audio quality that was mainly the issue. I felt like the audio output and the soundstage wasn't as wide. It just felt a little bit less loud and not as, I want to say the word enveloping. It doesn't feel like an experience. It feels like normal speakers that are, and the fact that they're both bottom firing, they are stereo speakers technically, but they're both bottom firing. So it feels like you're not getting much of a surrounding experience with this. They just feel like they're there and it's okay. But it's not something that will stop me from recommending it to anyone. It's just more of a me personal thing. I do watch videos and listen to music on my iPad without headphones on a lot. So having good loud speakers does really make a difference for me. So I did notice that. It wasn't like quiet. It wasn't something I couldn't watch videos on. It just, I always felt like, I would really like it if the volume could get just a little bit higher if there's background noise or something, and I would like to kind of override that. So that's it for the negatives. Not a lot. You guys can see a lot of that was just nitpicking, because this device is absolutely fantastic. And my summary on it is, for the price you can get this at, I don't know why you would buy any other tablet, honestly. Even if you like Android, if you're on the Android Google platform completely, the hardware and software experience here are insane. Like, you cannot compare this to anything on the market right now. And I can't wrap my head around how Apple manages to package this all into a $330 device, because this is honestly the most well-priced Apple product ever, I want to say. Like, these iPads, the entry-level iPads, for the experience they provide and the just quality of the device itself, $330 is a no-brainer. I feel like everybody should get one if you want a quick portable little computer. This is absolutely awesome. And, as I said, while there were a few negatives, none of them will stop me from buying it or recommending it. Like, this is an amazing device, and it will not stop me from buying it. Like, those negatives are not even close to enough to detract from the positives and the good experience this has. So it just makes such a solid case for itself that at a point you kind of start thinking, why would I buy the iPad Air or the iPad Pro when I can do so much on this for half or even 1/3 of the price? And it's a question that I actually haven't been able to answer. Like, it is truly, why would you pay for those devices more than just you want to have the best of the best? Because this does everything, and it does it super well. So I 100% recommend the 9th generation iPad. And if you're interested or you're thinking about it, don't. Just buy it. It is fantastic, and you will not regret it. And if you want to check this out or any other the accessories or stuff I use for this iPad, I'll have them linked all down in the description below. So go check it out. You guys clicking those links really does help the channel grow. So I really appreciate whenever you guys do that. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more iPad content. A couple more case videos and kind of comparisons with keyboard cases to see how they improve productivity are coming up. So be sure to subscribe for that. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow me on social media. I'll have all the handles right here on the screen, and of course linked down in the description as well. So go check me out over there for more behind the scenes of making these videos. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.